Mark, I know obviously you don't see the players till a little bit later, but in Sean Rowan and Ben House, are they likely to be available tomorrow, or are they going to be a little bit longer?
Honestly, I don't know. So we will find out very soon, actually. I would say that's 50-50, to be honest.
When it gets to this stage of a competition, when you're so close to a final, do you treat it in any different way as you treated the other games, or is it exactly the same?
No, exactly the same. I think I understand. I understand what your question is. Are we going to make loads of changes? What I've always said, Robert, I've always picked a team that I felt could win the game of football. I always have a detailed reasoning behind why I picked a team, whoever that is. And tomorrow will be the exact same. So my approach is the exact same for tomorrow.
And the fact we've got out of the busy period now and we're starting to get into a couple of weeks where it's a little quieter, does that help in terms of not having to change your team as much because of the amount of workload your players have got through?
Yes and no. I think the Christmas period is ridiculous to have 8 games in to have 3 games in 8 days is really tough. I don't know who puts our fixture list together this year, but they're definitely not Lincoln fans, are they? When I look at October and I see the games we had over Christmas, it was like, wow. So it doesn't help, but it's the same for everybody. I spoke to a manager this year who played against us and made 4 changes. And I remember chatting to him after and saying, like, what was your thought process? And he said, I've got too many players. We don't have that problem. But we're very comfortable with what we do have. We understand the parameters of what our squad looks like, how we want to, what our model looks like. And I'm really comfortable with that. And but it means we'll always work within our parameters of what we have in terms of size of squad. Look, what I'm trying to say is, look, if we want to have 27 players, it dilutes the quality of the group. So what we want to work with is a smaller group, which is my decision, with more quality. We've just been unlucky this year with injuries at certain times. We've just had an unbelievable run where we've had everybody available. We literally had, with all our young, talented players, like a group of 26 on a daily basis.
German and Charlie Kendall back in the fold as well. How does that help going into a game like this to have them available?
Really pleased. I'm really pleased for both. Reason I'm really pleased for Jovan is because he's a young boy who had a really, really unfortunate loan at his previous club. It was a nightmare through no fault of anybody's. So, you know, not putting blame on anybody. It was just a terrible, terrible loan. But when he's played for us, he's been outstanding. He's done really, really well. And his impact, the large majority of the games he's played in, barring one game I was disappointed in. I explained my reasons why, and we talked about that. But when he's come on in the games, he's had a big, big impact. So we're delighted to have him with us. He seems to shine in and around the first team. He's 6'5", strong as an ox, quick. He's got brilliant, brilliant tools. And I hope if all the stars align and things go the way they can, you need an extraordinary amount of luck in anybody's career. He could have a really bright future. Charlie is great to have back in the building, because he's also had an unfortunate loan which didn't work out. But I think he'll be the first to tell he's had a brilliant, brilliant experience. But there's ongoing conversation, because the most important thing, Rob, for them is what the future looks like for them. And if that's staying in and around the first team and part of it, great. If it's going back out on loan, the one thing we'll always do at the club is put what's best for the players and the clubs first, and not me. And I'm absolutely fully supportive of that.
Do players' mindsets change when you get to this stage of a competition? Does the thought of reaching a final, playing at Wembley, maybe for the first time in their career, do you think that comes into their mind at this stage, or do you think it's when you get to the semi-finals it's more likely to?
I can't answer it because I've not discussed it with them. It's not something we talk about. We've heavily geared our season around game by game. We don't allow the players to look too far ahead and get carried away. If ever we thought that people were getting a little bit above their station, we'd bring them back down to earth, like people would do with me, by the way, and I'd expect. But we don't have that. But our focus has always been on the next game, and tomorrow's no different, irrespective of whether it's a league game, first round, Papa John's, League Cup, you know, Ipswich, whoever these, Sheffield Wednesday, Plymouth, it doesn't matter. We only ever focus on the game, and predominantly speaking, when we are focused on the game, we heavily focus on ourselves.
It's always tough when you come up against Accrington. How difficult do you expect it to be tomorrow?
If I'm pausing, because as difficult as any other game we've had this year, I mean, we lost to Burton 3-0 and got away with a 3-0, by the way, and were awful, and then went and played the way we did against Bolton and Ipswich, down to 10 men in both games, which wasn't ideal. And I have to stress, I didn't think we deserved that. But what I'm trying to say, Rob, is any team can be. If you're not on your day, you'll get punished. And if you are on your day, you've got an outstanding manager. You know, God, I'd hate to hazard a guess at how many games John's had there. Superb manager, brilliant DNA, tried, trusted, tested. You know, if I had a quarter of the career John's had in managing, I'll be a very proud guy and a very lucky guy. So, really well drilled. I think they've got men in the team, people who understand the game. I thought when we played them at home, they played some really good football, and I thought they managed the game superbly with their dark arts, and they didn't do anything wrong. I'd like to see us being better at that side of the game. So look, the bottom line is it's as tough a game as any game we've had this year, but every game we've played this year, we've gone in feeling we can win it, and tomorrow's no different.
And you've had great success in penalty shootouts so far this season. Do you practice beforehand, or is it just that the players take it on themselves to practice after training?
A bit of both in that regard. I'm not doing my job as a coach if we don't set out to do that. And but the players, we try to give the players as much ownership as we can at the club without running the environment. I think it's important they feel valued and loved. So that will come hand in hand. So I think what I'm trying to say to you is, if I don't say today we're doing pens, when I look around, they'll all be doing pens. But of course, that's something we would. We didn't want to have three. I think we've had 3 penalty shootouts this year. We don't want that, but we're always prepared.
You follow in your heart, in spirit, in soul. You make every tackle, score every goal. You're part of it, wherever you are in the world, from the first minute until the last kick.